Right now, right now. 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 Oh, I got a real good feeling.
We try to bring you high-quality educational and informational content every single day. Why do you think the price is having such an anemic time? The news story of the hour. Jump onto the chart. Is this the beginning of a massive financial unraveling? We've got to add a little addendum to the show map today, and so we start here on the daily. Now, we've been looking at the RSI on Bitcoin's daily chart for the last several days. It always has been, but it's been increasing over the last 50 years since the beginning. The government has been getting bigger. Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and welcome back to Coffee and Crypto Live. This is your week daily morning show where we bring you the latest in everything Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. And in today's video, we are going to be talking about the major bounce that just occurred over on Bitcoin. As you guys know, Bitcoin has rallied extensively over the last 24 hours following the SEC's lawsuit against Binance on Monday and against the SEC's lawsuit against Coinbase on Tuesday. I have spoken at length on this stream, and I'll speak at length in today's Wednesday video about how this is an assault on the very core definition of what it is to fight against authoritarianism. Here's the deal, guys. There are two sides to this argument. There are two ways that you can view what's going on right now in this cataclysmic season in cryptocurrency. And it's through the SEC's lens and it's through the cryptocurrency investors' lens. Let's start with the SEC. The SEC believes that this is a battle of ensuring that the cryptocurrency market works with the SEC and operates in a way that is compliant to traditional economic models and economic frameworks and regulatory frameworks that the United States already operates under. That is not actually an invalid goal. That is not actually something that we should not try to do. We should try to work with the system and then from the inside work on changing it, because the best way to convince somebody that you are right is first to become friends with them and to work with them. I have nothing wrong with the government giving us some rules, some regulations, us trying to follow those, and then from the inside out, us being a shining light of what financial sovereignty can look like for personal finance, for corporate finance, for government finance, and what it can mean for not having a controlling spirit towards others' finance. Now, there's also the cryptocurrency view, and the cryptocurrency investors' view is this. We don't necessarily mind regulation, but we want to have clear regulation. Right now, we are dealing with regulation by enforcement, and essentially what that little kind of buzzword that you probably heard quite a lot means is that whenever the SEC comes out and files a lawsuit against Coinbase or files a lawsuit against Binance, they have not laid out proper guidelines, regulation, and regulatory frameworks that these companies and that us as investors can actually follow. This is the first time that any of those cryptocurrencies that have been listed in the complaints against Binance and against Coinbase have been labeled as a security anywhere. And by the way, just because the SEC calls them a security in a complaint doesn't actually mean that they are legally defined as securities. That is the opinion of one governmental agency that has a vested interest in those assets being labeled securities, because that government agency would then have the regulatory governance and oversight of those assets, totaling over $100 billion in market capitalization when you include Cardano, Polkadot, Matic, and all the others that have been listed as crypto security assets. The view of the cryptocurrency investor seems to be this, and this is certainly my view, that we don't necessarily mind regulation if it's clear, if it's fair, and if it is tailored to the cryptocurrency space. Having regulation that we can't follow because your little altcoin is not a Fortune 500 company that can be listed on NASDAQ is a reasonable concern. It is a reasonable concern that, first of all, we don't have clear regulation, and second of all, even if we did, we need that regulation to be tailored towards this industry, because I thought the United States was it runs like one very bad one sometimes. I thought the United States was the place that we invented cell phones. I thought the United States was the place that we invented telephones, that we invented automobiles, that we invented modern day computing, that we invented aircraft, that we invented refrigeration, microwaves. What happened to the United States being the technological hub from which all major technologies are developed, and many of the other nations will help, and there's different technologies that get developed elsewhere sometimes, but in core, this is the nation that we develop technology in and that we have the technological cutting edge. If we get so caught up in regulation, then we lose that edge because we're so fixated on how we're going to regulate the new technology that we don't allow the technology to develop in the first place. We're building technology to fit into a regulatory framework rather than letting the technology develop and then building a regulatory framework around that yes, protects consumers and yes, protects investors. I'm all for consumer protection. I think that is part of the United States government's mandate is to protect consumers by at least making sure they have enough information disclosed to them so that they can make a reasonable investment. I totally get that. I'm actually not against that in principle. The way that it's been laid out and enforced has been absolutely nothing short of dictatorial and authoritarian. It's tyranny to say that Gary Gensler says that everything except Bitcoin is a security, and so therefore, if you don't follow that, we're going to file a lawsuit against you. There's my rant to start off the stream. I hope all of you guys are enjoying today and today's bounce. As you know, Bitcoin has bounced quite extensively. We're sitting right around $26,700 today. Let's go ahead and read some chat, and then we'll break it down. Today, we're going to talk about a couple of different things. First and foremost, we're going to talk about that bounce. Second of all, we're going to talk about what the future for Bitcoin looks like in this new environment where it seems like the SEC is going to come after plenty of different crypto assets as securities. Love to hear your thoughts on all of that. We've got almost 200 people tuning in today. Thank you very much for everybody who tuned in for the first time yesterday. Had a lot of new faces. Thank you so much for sitting through all of my rants, especially my American history rants. I am definitely a patriot. I love the United States. I do not love the mistakes that it's made. Whenever I say that, people are invariably going to come at me with, well, Jeb, what about this? Well, Jeb, what about that? Well, Jeb, what about this? I am an entrepreneur. I'm a capitalist. I'm a patriot, and I believe in freedom from government. At least to a certain degree. Of course, I don't believe in the freedom to go out and, hurt somebody and not be thrown in jail for it. But I do believe in freedom from authoritarianism. And that's the principle. Those are the principles that the United States was founded on. And unfortunately, we do tend to drift away from that as the years go on. But as far as what we're founded on, many of those principles I hold near and dear, and many of them I think are Christian values. That being said, the United States is not God, and it tries to act like it sometimes, and that's where it goes off the rails. So thank you, everybody who listened to me on that. Mike Lowry was first today. He's a moderator and a Jedi Knight. Thank you so very much, Mike Lowry, for your continued support of the channel in both of those capacities. Said good morning. Alex Nibo said good morning. Mario De Leon said good morning, Crypto Fam. Good morning to you, Mario. Mike Lowry said, smash the likes, y'all. Thanks. Anthony Roldan said good morning. Dan Nolan said, right now. I love that song so much. You know why I love that song so much? Because it is not just education that you need to become financially sovereign. You also need the inspiration and the aspiration to be able to believe that you can go and do it. Zig Ziglar, you all know the name more than likely. He once said, if you believe you can, or if you believe you can't, you are right. And that is one of the most wise little modern proverbs that I've ever heard in my entire life. And so that's why I love that song so much, is no matter what the market is doing, I want you guys to end a video of ours on the up and up, feeling like, boom, we can do this. We've got what it takes. All right. Jarrett is in chat, said, good morning. I have the Beholder said, let's go, baby. Such a nasty bearish engulfing on the daily. I think you're talking about a bullish engulfing, but we're going to talk about that today. Let's see. We got Crypto Mini Bike in chat. I have the Beholder. You said all the time wrong, Jeb. I'm sorry. Grand Roofing Incorporated said, working to provide for your family when it's for you and your family and not for the other man. Work does not seem like work. Hashtag FinSolve. Absolutely. When you are in the right job, work will not feel like work. It will feel like purpose and calling. And that's something I'm very excited to be able to do every single day. Really excited. I've been in the gym lately. My wife and my daughter got to 8 weeks postpartum yesterday. My daughter's 8 weeks and a day old, our youngest. And so we decided to get back in the gym in the mornings. So I'm pumped. We did leg day. I'm feeling like I'm on cloud nine. My hamstrings are hating me right now, but I am on cloud nine, and I'm looking forward to today's stream. So let's go ahead and do it. Gonna jump on over to Coin Market Cap first. As you can see, Bitcoin is sitting at $26,768. It is down barely over the last 1 hour, but over the last 24, it is up 3%. That's something that's reflecting on the chart. You can see here that Bitcoin has rallied exceptionally well, putting in a bullish engulfing candlestick on the daily chart. Let's go, guys. 6% rally nearly, especially if you use the wicks. 1,500% gain. We saw a major drop just going down to the 1 hourly chart. We saw a huge drop when the SEC started releasing that news. We were already on a drop, and then Monday came around 10 a.m., and we saw that news about 11, right after the stream on Monday. And the SEC was filing lawsuit against Binance. Then yesterday, about exactly 24 hours later, right there in the morning, we saw the news drop, and Bitcoin would drop relatively quickly, all the way down to about 25,300. From there, though, after the Coinbase lawsuit dropped, Bitcoin would go on to rally $2,000 in 12 hours. And because of the way that did that, because of Bitcoin putting that rally in, Bitcoin actually put a bullish engulfing candlestick formation into play, and we jumped right back to where we started. Bitcoin is sitting right up at the exact same level that it was at before all of this SEC tomfoolery. And that is very encouraging. Part of the reason I think that's so encouraging is because it reminds us that the chaff has been removed. The people that are left in cryptocurrency are true believers. And for better or for worse, the people that are in cryptocurrency really firmly, vehemently, strongly, and abrasively sometimes agree and believe in what it is they believe in. The meme coiners, they're all in. They cannot lose enough money to not believe in their meme coin anymore. The crypto programmers, they are all in. This is their baby. They're working on this technology. The investors, they're all in. They believe in this thing. The traders, they're saying, up, down, side, whatever. If there's volatility, I can make money. The traders are happy. The people that are left are the bedrock. You know, Queen says it in chat all the time. One of our most prominent viewers here on the channel talks about the bedrock. I made a stream about a year ago, and I talked about bedrock. You know, when you're building a skyscraper, especially if you're, on the shore, most skyscrapers are built in cities, and most cities are on the ocean, right? You have to drill down pretty far to hit bedrock. Sometimes you have to drill down 80, 100, 200, 300, 500 feet to get through the soil to get down to the bedrock. You got to get down there, because to build a strong foundation, you don't want to be the man that builds his foundation on sand. You don't want to be the man that builds his foundation on gravel. You want to be the man that builds his foundation upon the solid rock. That's biblical. That's what Jesus says. Jesus calls us to build our house, our life upon him, because he is the solid rock of perfection. Never made a mistake in his entire life. He was perfect. He probably cut a board short before, but he never sinned in his entire life. We build our foundation upon him. In cryptocurrency, there's a similar concept. There's all these images of the Lord in our creation. And the bedrock in cryptocurrency are the people that are left after everything else has come. When the winds come and the hurricanes come and they beat on that house, when they beat on the shore and they wipe away all that topsoil, what's left is the bedrock. The buildings that were built on the sand, the buildings that were built on the gravel, the buildings that were built on the dirt will have gone away with the winds and the waves. The skyscraper, it's 120 stories tall, that was built and had its foundation pile drived all the way down into the bedrock, will still be standing. It'll be standing on 100-foot tall stilts, but it will still be standing because it was built on the bedrock. What's left in cryptocurrency is the bedrock. So there's two things to keep in mind with this bedrock analogy. Number one, it means that this is such a trying market that the topsoil, think about that for a second. Think about how much wind, waves, hurricane, tornado, whatever it is, it would take to wipe away all of the topsoil and expose the bedrock that's 100 feet below the skyscraper, which is probably 90 feet below sea level, by the way. How much would it take? It'd take a lot, right? That's what we're dealing with here in cryptocurrency. We are dealing with onslaughts of wind. We are dealing with onslaughts of hurricane, onslaughts of tsunamis, wiping away all the sand, all the gravel, all the topsoil. It's gone. It's vanished. It's nothing but bedrock left. And that, my friends, is why Bitcoin is so resilient against such a powerful attack. Make no mistake, yesterday's attack, the reason I put a nuclear bomb in the thumbnail was because this is the biggest assault that Bitcoin, not even so much Bitcoin, because Bitcoin, nobody's calling it a security, that crypto has ever come under. Ever. This is the Bravo nuclear test site. This is ridiculous, the level that this is huge. I don't think it'll go very far, but it is massive. And yet, this is what Bitcoin did. Bitcoin not only corrected and recovered some of its gains, it put in a bullish engulfing candlestick formation. Why were the winds not able to knock down the skyscraper? Why was the Christian man that believes in God, that had everything taken from him, not fall? Why? That man, that skyscraper, this industry is built on the bedrock at this point. When you pile the topsoil up on top of the bedrock, then you end up having the level of the ground much higher. And so if the bedrock's right here, around $20,000 to $25,000 somewhere in there, then you can see just how much topsoil we had on top of us to get all the way up to $65,000 to $69,000. You can see how much of it had to be removed, how much of it had to be evaporated, how much of it washed away with the winds that came in and swept away that soil. But now Bitcoin seems to be healthy. This is not an FTX. When FTX collapsed, Bitcoin went on to drop 25%, as you can see right here. When Luna collapsed. You guys remember the collapse of Luna? Bitcoin went on to collapse 42%. When these major collapses occurred, Bitcoin crashed in hard. When the pandemic came, Bitcoin dropped 50%. When we saw BitConnect collapse here in January of 2017, Bitcoin would drop like 40%. We saw the most important, most powerful regulatory agency that just has this weird, strange obsession and fascination with crypto come out of the woodwork and launch their largest assault on the two kings of crypto, like the two biggest companies in crypto. And Bitcoin rallied higher than where it started yesterday. The first message of today's video is that Bitcoin at this point is built on the bedrock. What is left is going to be a lot harder to shake than the topsoil. You can take a jackhammer to bedrock and you can drill into that. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to pile drive those pillars down into it. But it's a whole lot harder. It's a lot more difficult for Mother Nature to wear on a rock face than it is for Mother Nature to wear on topsoil. The erosion of beaches, that can happen very quickly. The erosion of a rock face, that can take thousands of years. And that's where the cryptocurrency market is at this point, and that's why this bounce, this bullish engulfing candlestick formation, is so important. When you've worked in cryptocurrency markets and looked at markets as long as I have, every single candlestick can tell a story. And so the story I just told is the story of the candlestick daily chart that started on Monday, June 5th, and ended on Tuesday, June 6th. All right. Let's talk a little bit about the why. Why is the SEC doing this? Again, I talked about this in the intro, but I would just kind of want to rehash. The reason that the SEC is launching this assault, they are saying, is because they don't believe that the cryptocurrency exchanges, Coinbase, Binance, are operating in a way that they should be legally, right? Of course, that's what a regulator is supposed to say. A regulator is supposed to say, we're coming after you because you're not doing the thing that we're supposed to make sure you're doing. I would like to enlighten you a little bit on what's going on behind the scenes. What's going on behind the scenes is that Gary Gensler looks like the biggest fool on Capitol Hill right now because he watched FTX collapse under his nose. All the while saying and trumpeting that, cryptocurrencies are securities. Crypto exchanges, they should be securities. We should be the ones regulating them. All right, dude. If you're the one that ought to be regulating them, then why did FTX happen? You know, politicians, if they're on the same side of the aisle, are normally polite enough to say, I'm going to roast you, but I'm going to do it behind the scenes, right? Because we're supposed to look unified in the Democratic Party. Same thing with the Republican Party. It's supposed to look like they're unified because they all got to come together every once in a while to pass a bill. That being said, you can only imagine the kind of ire that Gary Gensler is getting behind the scenes. You can see the amount of ire that Gary Gensler is getting in public. In fact, Changpeng Zhao over on Binance is turning into a little miniature Elon Musk in cryptocurrency because he's just roasting Gary Gensler over on Twitter. The dude's turning into an absolute legend. And one of his tweets, let me see if I can find it. One of his tweets, I don't know if I can find it that quickly, but one of his tweets says that yeah, this is one of them. If you have to pick a fight with everyone, maybe you're the one at fault. It's a good point. And then also he said, see if I can find it really quickly. I don't know if I can. Here we go. I found it. CZ said, wonder if he ever reads the comments under his post from the consumers he is supposed to protect. Gary Gensler, through 13 charges, we allege that Zhao and Binance, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You look at all the comments under here, and I'm not even gonna read a lot of them. I'm not even gonna read a lot of them because the fact of the matter is most of them are pretty critical and pretty mean. What I will say is that he's got a good point. I don't know if Gary really has the understanding to realize, wow, the people that I am supposing to protect hate me. And I'm not advocating to hate anybody. Not one person. I don't hate Gary Gensler, and you shouldn't either. I don't like his actions, but I don't hate the man. But the fact of the matter is, just looking at the real world, he's getting a lot of hate, right? Gary Gensler's already getting that amount of ire from outside the public. Ever since FTX, he has been getting plenty of ire from within his own within his own agency and from his other political friends. Because why did FTX run under his nose? Somebody even said that under this post. Let me see if I can find it. Someone said, and FTX official. And then somebody said up here, I think it was up here, where was the lawsuit against FTX? And that's kind of what Gary Gensler's getting at. So this is on the surface, they believe they're doing these things wrong. Maybe they are. Maybe CZ himself has some kind of accounting practices that are not kosher. That should be looked into. Fine. The attack that they are operating as unregistered clearinghouses, brokers, and dealers, and that they are running an unregistered security exchange here in the cryptocurrency space in the United States is ridiculous because it's not been defined as a security yet. And they can say all day that the rules have been set. They have not been set, because if they had been set, the people in the cryptocurrency would know they've been set. Now that being, I mean, I'm not trying to sit here and say that if you don't know the law, you're exempt from the law. That's not what I'm saying. But the law needs to be made clear enough that the largest companies in the industry that have CLOs, chief legal officers, can understand and they can comply. Behind the scenes, there's two things going on. First of all, Gary Gensler himself and his agency have a lot of egg on their face after FTX went down and lost tens of billions of dollars of consumer funds. The other factor here is that the United States is trying to launch a CBDC. So Gary Gensler has egg on his face from not shutting down FTX before it went under. On top of that, Gary Gensler realizes that a CBDC is coming out, and so he's the fall guy that's going to get all the ire, and he'll go down in history being hated, unfortunately. I don't think we should hate him, but I definitely disagree with him. He'll go down as the guy that everybody disliked, and then the government will go and move forward with their CBDC. So think about this. He's got motive, and he's got an excuse. He's got a reason. He can say, I plead insanity. He's got a reason. He's got motive. He's got a plan. The motive is, hey, FTX collapsed. We need to protect consumers from this. I look like an idiot right now. I look like a fool right now. What am I going to do about this? The second factor is that he's trying to pave the way for a CBDC. If you wrangle up all the altcoins and you ban them by labeling this as a security, because that's basically a soft ban. You label a cryptocurrency as a security, you think the cryptocurrencies are going to be able to band together and figure out how to do the proper securities disclosure? They're supposed to be decentralized. Who's going to do it? Who are you going to mail the subpoena to? Boom. Appear in court, Cardano. Pff. Charles Hoskinson? The dude doesn't own Cardano. Cardano's a cryptocurrency. He owns some of it. He's the leader of the development, the thought leader. But how are you going to do that? It's protest in action. I just want you to understand something. Decentralized cryptocurrencies are protest digitized. If there's a mass protest going on against, say, China, and you've got, whoever in charge of it, you go arrest that guy, what are you going to do? You're just going to tick off the rest of the protesters. What are you going to, you're going to say, hey, protesters, one of you, you, leader, appear in court and then tell them all to sit down. No, they're not going to do that. Same thing with crypto. Nobody owns the cryptocurrency. There's no central owner that has the authority to shut it down. It doesn't work that way. So they can ban it off exchanges all they want. Guess what? DEXs are a thing. The only way to ban a DEX is to force every single person in the United States to not do it. And then to do that, you have to build a police state digitally and put up the Great Firewall, which is where China's going. The United States, I hope, doesn't try to go down that route, because that would be extremely un-American and certainly very, very authoritarian. Unfortunately, it does seem to be the route that we're going. So those are the motives behind what Gary Gensler is doing. Let's talk a little bit about the practicals. Let's also talk a little bit about some other reasons why Bitcoin is doing relatively well. Bitcoin, of course, rallied quite a lot. It's dropping again. I mean, it makes sense. There's a lot of FUD in the market, but it does have the potential to hold this downtrending level of support. If it does hold this downtrending level of support, boom, great. Love to see it. I'd love to see Bitcoin be able to hold this downtrending level of support. If it is able to hold this downtrending level of support and bounce off of it, then that's where Bitcoin very well could actually move into rally. Now, here's the deal. There is a more than likely neutral or bearish CPI data report coming out a week from today on June 13th. And then on Tuesday, June 13th. And then on June 14th, 1 week from today, we're likely to see an effective federal funds rate hike. Those are likely to both be bearish signals. And when and if those do happen, then Bitcoin is going to have to hang tight, because it's probably going to drop even more. I still think Bitcoin will probably drop down into this zone if we see both of these events turn out to be bearish. If not, it's possible that Bitcoin holds above 25,236, because it's seeming like we're falling right down on bedrock and Bitcoin is holding fast. Love to see it. But there's another reason why Bitcoin rallied so much over the last 24 hours. It's not just that we're on bedrock. It's also because of the SPY. Now, guys, we've been looking at the stock market quite extensively because it's heavily correlated to Bitcoin. Just to give you a bit of a rundown, I even have it up here. I'll just show you the correlation on the stock market. over the last couple of years. Remove all drawings for a second. You can very clearly see the correlation. Pandemic drop, we dropped extensively. We had a massive rally from all the quantitative easing. Major drop, bear market that started here at the very end of 2021. Coincided with the drop on Bitcoin. We had a bit of a rally. We're in a bit of a rally right now. The stock market is heavily correlated to Bitcoin very clearly. Now, looking at the stock market itself, it has this level on it, the SPY, SPDR S&P 500 ETF Trust. Has a level at 418. This level is roughly defined by some local highs and then back tests of that high that we set here in 2021 on the way up. It's also set with some lows that are set here in February and March of 2022. It's also resistance that was set here on June 6th of 2022, so basically exactly a year ago. And so now the stock market has broken through that. There's a couple of things that are very important about this. First and foremost, this level was crucial resistance. We've attempted to break through it before. We attempted to break through it back over here in August of 2022. We failed. We didn't even get to it this time in December of 2022. And then this time here in February of 2023, we didn't manage to break it. We've been trying to get above it ever since the beginning of May. We're now into June. The stock market is now broken above that. So not only has the stock market broken above this level, the stock market has also done something else very, very important. And let me just see if I can show it here with a moving average correctly. Going to go to inputs. We're going to switch this to 1 for SMA. We'll put this at 300. I'll put it at 52, actually. And we will look on the weekly chart because we trade 52 weeks a year. All right. Trying to show you something here. Let's see. See if this will do it. All right. You can see the 52-week moving average has started to curve bullish. Why? Well, the reason that we've started to curve bullish is because if you come back down to the daily chart, and I'll just go ahead and turn those moving averages off for a second. I can't do a 365-day moving average because we don't trade 365 days a year on the stock market, so it wouldn't really work that way. The trading days, I think it was about 240. I'd have to know the exact number to get that right. But what I'm trying to show you here, if you look at the date, it is June 6th. If you look at the date over here on the stock market, June 6th, 2022, we were trading at 417. For the first time in a while, we are actually higher on a year-over-year basis than we have been. That started occurring back over here when we were like May 12th to May 12th, right around there. We were technically in a year-over-year gain, about 6%. But if you look at the SPDR, we're actually moving into a year-over-year gain, a year-over-year rally. On top of that, we've also broken above this downtrending level of resistance. There's also, of course, the hope that if not this meeting, the next meeting will have an effective federal funds rate pause. There's the concern that there could be a recession, but that actually could reset some things, so that gives people hope. And then, of course, the jobs numbers are relatively good right now. So a lot of different people are thinking, great, stock market is breaking out. There's a correlation with Bitcoin. That's one of the things driving Bitcoin. So it's not just the fact that Bitcoin came down and tested bedrock and obviously did a very good job of holding it. It's also the fact that the stock market is doing relatively well. And then on top of that, there's one more factor to consider, and that would be the Dixie. If you look at the Dixie is actually kind of stagnating. The Dixie had been going through this massive rally. It's now trading sideways. So that's better than an uptrend. It's not as good as a downtrend, of course, but the Dixie being inversely correlated to Bitcoin means that if the Dixie's going up, Bitcoin's going down. If it's trading sideways, Bitcoin's probably actually rejoicing about that because Dixie's no longer raining on its parade. And if the Dixie starts dropping, then Bitcoin's probably going up even more aggressively. The fact that we're trading sideways over the last week is absolutely a bullish indication for the Bitcoin market because of that negative correlation, that inverse correlation, I should say. So it's really funny. We're actually doing pretty well about moving through this prediction that I made here towards the end of May, where Bitcoin would probably drop down to about 25, maybe even 24 and a half, 25,236, somewhere in there, and then bounce and rally moving into, I said late June originally. That might be a week or two early, might be moving into mid-July. But at some point here in the not too distant future, I do think that Bitcoin will gradually start moving to the upside after we confirm our bottom. Now, I'd like to sit here and tell you that the bottom was confirmed because we had huge FUD and Bitcoin did not manage to drop below 25,236, and that is bullish. Make no mistake. That is very, very, very bullish. But I would be a bit of a fool to tell you that because there's plenty of things that can happen that can drop Bitcoin. What I will say is that the 200 daily exponential moving average, I did switch that to EMA, didn't I? Yes, I did. The 200 daily exponential moving average is sitting at 25,200. So the fact that we dropped down to the 25,200 to 25,300 range is not at all surprising. Dropping down to this level and down to 25,236 was very important because it means that we backtested that level, and if we hold it, then we're going to be in good shape. Now, one concern I do have on moving averages here is that we backtested all the way down to the 200 daily EMA. I think that we probably needed to do that even if we didn't have this regulatory news, and then we bounced. From there, though, we're rejecting off of the 50 DEMA. So we're kind of in this range between the 50 and the 200. Anything above the 50, we're kind of in solid bullish territory. Anything below the 200, we're in quite bearish territory. The tricky thing is that until we see a break of one of those moving averages, we are still just kind of ping-ponging around here in between the 50 and the 100 as we did here. Now we're kind of ping-ponging around in between the 50 and the 200. We're not out of the woods yet. I just want to make that clear. We're not out of the woods yet. We're not just going into a massive rally just yet. But what I will say is that Bitcoin bouncing that hard after it dropped down to 25,236, hugely important level. After it dropped down to the 200 daily EMA, hugely important level, and put that bullish engulfing candlestick formation in play. Those are hugely important things that Bitcoin just did. Very excited about where Bitcoin is, where Bitcoin is going, and I think that there's a huge legal battle coming, and the fact that Binance and Coinbase both got sued on the same day, I think there will probably be a lot of cooperation between those two, which could be very good for the unity of the cryptocurrency space. I certainly hope that those two companies will fight that battle in a way that is healthy and unifying and represents cryptocurrency well, but also I hope that those two companies fight the battle in a way that leads Congress to passing some kind of bill that outlines the way that the cryptocurrency market should be regulated. The cryptocurrency market needs to be regulated. There need to be clear rules because that is one of the things that's going to pave the gateway towards mass adoption. But to get there, we're going to need an act of Congress to be able to get that clear regulation so that other companies can feel confident to come in and build in this industry. You know, it's funny, Gary Gensler, somebody tweeted, I don't know if I'll be able to find it too quickly, but someone tweeted that Gary Gensler is the best promoter of cryptocurrency because in one of his speeches, he was trying to, diss cryptocurrency, and he's saying, like, he's basically trying to make the point, I think, that, these are extremely powerful assets and they need to be regulated. And so what he did is he said that, that certain cryptocurrency, certain blockchain, whatever, you could build Lyft on it. You could build Uber on it. And it would run incredibly efficiently. All the while he's trying to, destroy cryptocurrency. I don't know if it's in his heart to actually try and destroy cryptocurrency. I don't want to assume the man's heart because I don't know the man's heart. But what I can tell you is his actions look like he wants to bring it down. All right. Good deal. Let's go ahead and read some chat. Really appreciate all of you guys for tuning in, as always. I do think this bounce is a huge good sign for Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. Freedom Advocate said Coinbase isn't going anywhere. That's right. Coinbase is not going anywhere, but Coinbase may find it very hard to operate until we have more clear regulation here in the United States. And that's difficult for Coinbase because Coinbase is based in the United States, operates in the United States, and is traded and listed on the United States stock market. It's already been coming under fire from about 10 different states. About 10 different states have already launched their own investigations into Coinbase, and also the state of, where was it? Was it New Jersey? New Jersey actually fined Coinbase. So Coinbase is going to have its own trouble. They have millions of dollars set aside for this lawsuit. Yes, Coinbase knew this was coming. Because if you don't know, Coinbase, after it IPO'd, actually sued the SEC for not providing clear regulation and clear guidelines. So there is legal precedent that Coinbase does not believe that there are clear regulatory guidelines that they can follow. Jason Hahn said, where are all the likes? That's a great question. If you're enjoying this content, make sure to hit that like button. All right. That dump and pump, the last two days was a thing of beauty. I totally agree. Peace of Mind said, hit the like button, guys. Thank you. Jeb, if ADA is a security, will you give up on it for good? If those altcoins actually get legally classified as securities and that becomes an issue, I think that Cardano is probably in the best position of any cryptocurrency other than Ethereum to be able to weather the storm of having to go through those disclosures. Becoming a registered security is a gigantic nightmare. But if any of the altcoins are going to be able to make it through that, I honestly think the infrastructure that Cardano has built will be the most likely to weather it. Am I a Bitcoin maxi, Jeb? I am not a Bitcoin maxi, but I'm probably more in that direction than a lot of people in cryptocurrency. The reason is I think there's a lot of value in small cap coins, but let's just be honest, 99% of them are trash and are going to go to zero, and they're never going to do anything. And they're never going to be something that you should invest in. I think that It's also important to remember that there are other investments besides crypto. If you're just investing in crypto, you are hugely exposed to these markets. It's important to be diversified in other investments. So cryptocurrency is not the only thing that I want to be invested in, and it's not the only thing that you should be invested in. Not a Bitcoin maxi, but I definitely think that there's some common sense to not betting the farm on an unproven technology that just launched yesterday. If you've seen The Wolf of Wall Street, you're going to have to censor 75% of it if you don't want to. I mean, it's literally, just so you know, The Wolf of Wall Street, interesting story. That movie broke the record and still holds the record for the most cursing in a movie ever. So it's kind of a hard movie for me to watch, but and I wouldn't watch it again, but I did watch it several years ago. And in that movie, they talk about Jordan Belfort, his story, and the way he got started was he was promoting these penny stocks that were nothing to investors. One of them was, what was it, Aerodyne? Was it Aerodyne? Is that what it was? Aerodyne. Aerodyne Industries? Is that what it is? Aerotyne. That's what it is. Yeah. So and then they cut, and it shows like they're and he's talking on the phone about, yeah, they just got a new corporate headquarters, and it cuts to the corporate headquarters, and it's this wooden shack in the back of the yard. It's like not even like a new nice shed that you spent like $8,000 on. It's like somebody put that up. It looks like Shrek's outhouse. Like that is their new corporate headquarters, right? It's got the crescent moon and everything. And that's kind of what you're dealing with a lot of cryptocurrencies, a lot of small cap coins. They got this big, boisterous vision, which if it came true, cool. It's execution. I'm all for a big vision. It's our dream to teach millions of you guys how to live financially sovereign. That's our vision. That's what I believe will help you guys. That's what I want to do with you guys. But if I don't execute on that, and if we don't do practical steps that lead to the execution of that vision, there's nothing. And so unfortunately, most cryptocurrencies are in that boat. Most cryptocurrencies are going to go to zero. Not a Bitcoin maxi, but I do recognize that for a company to succeed, it needs certain ingredients for that success. And most cryptocurrencies have a company behind them that is the thing that's driving them forward. A lot of Bitcoin maxis are pushing for more SEC regulation. I'm not pushing for more SEC regulation. I think there needs to be clear regulation. Let's see. Yo, what are your thoughts on ADA being accused of security? What I don't get is that they had their ICO in Japan, and the judge in the library case ruled secondary sales are not securities. Yeah, I don't think that Cardano should classify as a security. I don't think that hardly any of this in the cryptocurrency space should classify as a security, especially if the ICO is being raised. Yeah, it shouldn't be classified as a security. I don't believe that makes a whole lot of sense at all. I understand that they're trying to apply the Howey test, but you're trying to apply a test from 1946 when the stock market was a lot younger, for one, and before the cryptocurrency market was created. The Howey test, theoretically, you could apply it to the stock market, but you could also apply it to my son's favorite toy car. You could apply it anywhere. You could apply it to the lemonade stand. Let Howey test. Here we go. Here. Investopedia has a good article on it. The Howey test. An investment of money in a common enterprise with the expectation of profit to be derived from the efforts of others. So, if my son turns 8 years old and he wants to set up a lemonade stand, and I give him an investment of money, and it's in a common enterprise, it is Lemonade Limited Incorporated, with the expectation of profits, I'm going to give him $20 to go buy the wood planks and to buy the paint to paint lemonade with, and to get some lemons. And I expect him to turn around and give me $30 and give me 50% return on my money, derived from the profits of others, because he's the one doing it. Is Gary Gensler going to show up at my front door and say that investment that I made in that lemonade stand, is that an investment contract? To be honest with you, it probably would, because that's kind of what that is. But you don't apply it in that area because it just doesn't make sense. If we live by the letter of the law, then we're going to be enslaved to the law. The better thing to do, and what we're as Christians are called to do, is to, yes, follow the law, but be led by the heart of the law. For example, if anybody's ever seen the Andy Griffith show from a long time ago, you got Andy Griffith, you got Opie Griffith, his son. There's a scene. Let me see if I can find this. Andy Griffith, no swimming episode. It's a life lesson that they talk about because you used to learn things from TV. Can I find it? I don't know if I can find it. I may have found it. Hang on. Let's see. No. I don't want to take up too much of your time looking for it, but I'll just kind of give you the lowdown on it. I'll look for it while I'm talking. I can kind of do both. there is a scene from the Andy Griffith Show, and you got father teaching son, and he teaches him about this pond, and the pond says no swimming in it. It literally is just a sign that says no swimming. And Andy Griffith is a sheriff of Mulberry or whatever the name of the town is, and so it's his job and his police force's job to enforce that sign because that's law. So he asks him, his boy is like 8, 9 years old, if there was somebody drowning in that lake and you had the ability to go and save them, what would you do? Would you follow the sign? Would you follow the rules and not go swimming? Or would you break the rule and go help the person anyway? What would you do? Would you risk breaking the law to save a life? Would you do that? The obvious answer is yes. What we should do is we should say, hey, look, we're gonna if there is a serious condition, then we need to realize that nobody would expect you to not go swimming in that case. For example, when we gave birth to our daughter, I'm not gonna lie to you, I did 80 and a 60 trying to get to the hospital because that baby was coming. We got to the hospital, she came an hour and a half later. It was a quick labor, right? I do the speed limit all the time. I do exactly the speed limit because I submit to rulers and authorities, as Titus chapter 3 tells me to. I broke the speed limit in that case. And you know what? If a cop had pulled me over, he would have said, all right, buddy, I'm giving you an escort because I was driving safely. I wasn't weaving in and out of traffic, but I was getting to that hospital as quickly as I possibly could. We live on a road that's a giant, like 4-lane highway, like 40-foot thing in the middle. There's no cars on the road. I'm booking it. I know how to drive quickly because before I was a Christian, you better believe I did 20 miles an hour over the speed limit everywhere. So I knew what I was doing. I was safe. I wasn't putting anybody in danger, but I'm getting my wife to the hospital so she can give birth to that baby, right? Breaking that law in a way that most people would understand and agree with because we're trying to follow the heart of the law while also 99% of the time following the written law if it is a just law. In cryptocurrency, should we then therefore follow the written law that the Howey test, which by the way is not law, it's legal precedent, and there is a difference, says that a security is an investment of money in a common enterprise with the expectation of profit to be derived from the efforts of others. Should we follow that because technically that can be, maybe, applied to cryptocurrency? Or should we follow the heart of that, which is that the precedent in that case was dealing with investment of money in companies in the stock market? Cryptocurrencies are not stocks. So why are we applying one law in the place of another? Right? Like, we've got a sign here. It's on this. It's on the track, and then there's this little area, this refreshment area over here, and it says no running. So what? Should we go unplug the water fountain because it's running? No. The rule was made for the implication is that don't run on this side because you might trip. There's crack. Whatever. The implication is don't run, you human. Not don't run, you water fountain. The Howey test was not built for cryptocurrency. We must have a clearly defined regulatory framework for the cryptocurrency space that was built and designed for the cryptocurrency space. What works in the stock market is not going to work in the cryptocurrency market, and if the United States has any hopes of remaining the technological leader on the cutting, bleeding edge of technological development, which has been one of our greatest strengths over the last 150 years, then we absolutely must have regulatory clarity for cryptocurrency. And it has to be fair. It has to protect consumers. It has to prevent things like FTX from happening. It has to prevent things like BitConnect from happening. But it also has to give people the freedom to invest in projects that are going to bring actual returns. That's not going to make anybody happy. It's not going to make the SEC happy. It's not going to make a lot of people in cryptocurrency happy because it will raise the barrier to entry to create a new altcoin, but it will make things fair, and it will allow this industry to grow into the $100 trillion industry that I think it can become. I'm just going to go ahead and put my soapbox back under my table. There we go. Oh, goodness. Quarter Crawler said, later, guys. Have a blessed day. Then they fight you. You know the best. You know the rest. So if you get shaken out, it's on you. Yep, that's true. They fight you. Let's see. Submitted an unstaked request on my ETH on Coinbase because I didn't want the SEC to freeze assets. Yeah, they are trying to freeze assets over on Binance. My home has more than doubled in value. My stocks are doing fine since I started investing 20 years ago. Crypto seems to be a hold, but still in the green. $20 he's only going to get $20 he's only going to get one board with. All right, well, I'm not going to do the whole job for him. Kid's got to figure out some way to be an entrepreneur. You know, my 2-year-old. If we get a crypto regulation by mid-2024, could that trigger a tsunami of money from institutional investors by 2025, pushing Bitcoin to 150 to 200K? Thanks, love the show. Jason Hahn said, absolutely. I think that is what the next major rally is going to come from. It's not only going to come from pausing interest rates and then when they start QE again eventually, it's also going to come from an influx of institutional investment after the on-ramps are created in a regulatory way. Thomas Lee from Fundstrat has been saying that for years. Very important. Real estate, stock market, crypto, my main three. Boom. There you go. All right, guys. Really appreciate all of you for tuning in. Jeremy Shorter said, woot, made it. Good deal. Enjoyed the rant. Certainly makes sense to me. I'm glad that you guys could appreciate that and understand that. Guys, that is going to do it. Make sure that if you have not already to sign up for LuxAlgo, because LuxAlgo, you can save $472 on LuxAlgo on the yearly plan if you use coupon code JEB30, J-E-B-B, 30 for 30% off at checkout, and the annual plan, you will save $472 off of $818. It'll bring the total down to $370 and change, and you're going to save so much money on a great technical indicator that will help you in your technical analysis. Really hope you guys enjoyed today's show. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that post notification bell so you won't miss a single episode. Today's episode is coming out in 13 minutes, so make sure to check that out on the YouTube channel when it goes live. Before I go, I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Oh, I got a real good